Good morning, St. Kitts, and good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis. And welcome to another edition of Voices here on Win FM. I'm Jermine Abel, and I'm sitting in today for Socrates. Yes, we're going to spend the next just about 2.5 hours thereabout on Voices, and you can share your thoughts and all of that, your thoughts, expressions, and so forth. So, yes. But before we do all of that, we'll acknowledge our partners. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself this morning. Yeah, we'll acknowledge our partners, the people who make voices possible, and then we'll come right back with more voices.
Sign up for internet and get 1 month free, plus a chance to pay $0 for the rest of the year. Plus, get a chance to win free data, gas vouchers, $500 cash weekly, grocery vouchers, Fed tickets, and more.
Switch over to Flow.
And drive out in a brand new Suzuki Grand Vitara this VAT Day from Tennessee Automotive Division, your VAT Day specialist. Pay no down payment, get a special low interest rate, easy financing options available, up to 8 years repayment, no payment for 3 months, 5-year warranty, and special insurance discounts. Save big and conquer the road with class. Get a Suzuki Grand Vitara this VAT Day from Tennessee Automotive, your VAT Day specialist. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
And welcome back to Voices here on Win FM. I'm Jermine Abel, sitting in for Socrates today. Today, Friday, it's the end of a busy work week here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and a busy news period as well. We saw a press release coming out from the police about the robbery on Nevis, and at least 3 persons were charged in connection with that incident over the weekend. 2 were from St. Kitts and 1 from Nevis. But it raises a bigger question in terms of development on how we treat youths and young people in St. Kitts and Nevis. So, yes, it's a big question that we have been seeing and hearing. You know, what more can we do to assist the young people here in St. Kitts and Nevis? And strikingly, yesterday was the official release of the CXC results last evening. I know they did say it was going to be released at 6 p.m., but they ended up issuing a press statement saying that it was going to be released late last evening around midnight. So yeah, St. Kitts and Nevis did fairly well, and a lot of children will be smiling, and some will not be as happy because they did not get the results that they were expecting. And I would say congratulations to all the students who won. St. Kitts and Nevis's results were really, really, really good. Overall, CXC saw an increase in the pass rates for a number of subject areas and overall. So that's really, really good for the children in St. Kitts and Nevis. But CXC's CEO, Dr. Wayne Wesley, who's also the registrar, he made a valid point in terms of the way we treat young people and children, and he's basically saying we need to remove the walls and stop stigmatizing children in St. Kitts and Nevis. So, because of all of that, I think it's a really good segue for us to have a discussion on what he said yesterday. So I'm going to play some of what Dr. Wesley said, and then we will come back and hear the phone, and we will go to the phone lines.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I note that my Director of Operations talked about all protocol observed. That is not from my training, so I'm going to do what my training says, Honorable Minister. But rest assured, the training doesn't say that you need to read out all 26. So I will not read out all 26, but I think it is important that on an occasion like this, that we recognize at least those who would have made it possible. And in that regard, I would first like to recognize our Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Henley, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education within the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis. We also have the Right Honorable, and I was told the Senior Minister, Dr. Denzel Douglas, the Senior Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs. Happy to have you with us. In fact, CXC is a product of what regional collaboration is all about, and the Foreign Ministry, no doubt, would have played a very important role in that. I also want to recognize the Honorable Garth Wilkin. Yes, Garth Wilkin, the Attorney General, being present with us. We are always operating in a legal space, aren't we? And we just have to make sure things are done right. I'm trusting that the presentation from my Director of Operations suit the legal framework and ramifications, yes, because we want to ensure that everything is done decently and in order. We do also have the Ambassador, Michael Lin, from the Republic of China with us. Is he still here? Taiwan, sorry. Yeah, China, Taiwan. No? Okay, well, good. Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, he should be listening online, hopefully. I must apologize on behalf of Dr. Marcia Potter. She is actually in a very precarious position at this time, but she sent her best wishes to the team. It would be remiss of me not to mention our permanent secretary, Mr. P.S. Lisa Pistanza. Pistania? Yes, it's all right. For the warm hospitality you would have been extending to us since I arrived here on Sunday, and also give my regard to Officer Francis, I think it is, who would have been facilitating our movements around. The many wonderful persons that I have been engaging with. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and I trust that you are all having a splendid time. Certainly, I am having a wonderful time here meeting the people, the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I do understand the circumstance that I'm in a double bubble. And as we celebrate 50, I could not disagree with our MC this morning that we have chosen the right place. to celebrate, where you have the sweet St. Kitts and the nice navies. It is certainly sweet and nice. I had the pleasure yesterday of meeting with a core group of students and teachers and principals across St. Kitts and Nevis. We had a time to interact and share with them. And what I have come to recognize is that there is a competitive spirit. But that competitive spirit is not to see who is better, but a competitive spirit that says, how do we collectively achieve the best? There is a difference. And I recognize that while I might be flying high with the hawks and soaring with the eagles and being a part of the birthplace of champions, I recognize that all of this is for us to mutually achieve the very best. And I congratulate you on that. The wildcats, of course, the wildcats are part of nature, and understanding why. There you go now, there you go now. So we understand why it is then that St. Kitts is really nurtured by nature. A very powerful place. You have harmonized yourself together. And part of that harmony I've recognized is instilled within your own education system. I had the opportunity to meet with your curriculum and planning unit, your minister and your prime minister, and we have discussed what is happening within the education system within St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm particularly impressed with the fact that at the secondary level, and while we have presented results here today, even at your primary, moving to your secondary level, there's no kind of discrimination, because there's an equal opportunity for persons to attend the school within their region. So all schools are getting the same kind of attention. That is critical. That is critical. And why it is critical? Because if we are to achieve quality education, it is important that quality education will not be achieved if it is that every child is not afforded the opportunity to realize their fullest potential. We will only be talking if it does not happen. And so, if it is that we want every child to recognize their fullest potential, then it needs be that we create a system that accommodates every single child. It therefore begs the question, and we should ask ourselves, what would have caused a human being to be transformed from the cradle of love to the crucible of hate, where governments across the region are currently challenged with the social ills, a security budget that is ballooning because of the challenges we faced. In my discussion with the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, your Prime Minister, he made a very important point, that as we look at the education system, we should seek to create opportunities for all, those who we consider requiring more attention, those who we consider to be gifted. What are we doing with them? Because perhaps while we are experiencing what we are experiencing across the region, you don't know if it is the gifted meeting with those at the lower end, coming together to create the kind of challenges that we are facing. I think it is time that we consider an education system that is transformed, moving away from a failure approach where we begin to speak more of what students have not achieved, and move into the realm of speaking about what students have achieved, from a failure approach to an achievement approach. It is much better for us to affirm the confidence of a child than to speak negatively to that child's well-being and prosperity. If we move in that regard, then we will stop the propensity and the inclination for us to be blaming aspect of the education system. We need to resist the urge from blaming students. We need to resist the urge from blaming parents. We need to resist the urge from blaming teachers. We need to resist the urge from blaming principals. We need to resist the urge from blaming ministries of education. We need to resist the urge from blaming ministers of education. What we need to understand is that what has evolved over the years is a system that creates segregation. And we need to break that system down. Move away from creating an elitist movement to one that caters to every single child. In Jamaica, they say, every child can learn and every child must learn. We need to create that system and stop relegating our students and children to a life of doom. When we change what we are doing as a region and begin to put the resources where the resources should go, we will see improvement. As we celebrate 50 years at the Caribbean Examinations Council, we are cognizant of the need to change and to transform. So we are also playing our part to transform for greater regional impact. That transformation will see us repositioning ourselves by reimagining our philosophy to create multiple pathways for students to demonstrate their competence. We are rethinking our qualification framework, where a competency skills-based approach first is being contemplated, recognizing competence as we go. We are rethinking our assessment framework and validation framework, where we will begin to provide for progressive, flexible assessment. We will be working, and accordingly, we have changed our product model to a classical innovation, hybrid innovation, and proxy innovation. You know our classical innovation. Our classical innovation is our product that you currently enjoy, our CSEC and our CAPE. But we recognize that within the context of national member states responding to their own national imperatives, that there will be need to address those imperatives, but at the same time remain relevant within the region and globally. For that to happen, our hybrid approach, innovation, will begin to work collaboratively with ministries of education across the region, where curriculum designed by CXC will be utilized alongside national programs that are developed. That's an hybrid approach. Our proxy approach will begin to recognize national programs that are designed towards equipping students with the requisite skills and competency. And us, as a regional body charged with the responsibility for validating and recognizing competence that will have international recognition, we will come alongside ministries in those national programs through a quality assurance mechanism, ensuring that they receive the recognition they deserved. In that context, ladies and gentlemen, we can do it and we must do it. It is urgent that we take that step to save our young people and to present them with a future that they can see themselves being prosperous and attaining the highest level. I look forward to engaging the ministries of education across the region And as I close, I want to say thanks to all those who have made this morning possible for us to be able to present results. The staff of the Caribbean Examination Council, the entire staff, the staff of the ministries of education that worked with us, our local registrar. Where's Mr. Claxton? He's here. Where's Mr. Claxton? Mr. Claxton, stand up and take a bow. There you go. Thank you very much for the hard work that you have done in that regard. Ladies and gentlemen, I could talk all morning, but I'll stop right here because we have the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley to come forward and give the keynote. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your day.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hey kids, drink healthy!
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way!
TDC, your VAT Day specialist, is giving you more reasons to save. Get up to 30% store-wide at all TDC retail stores, TDC Automotive Division, City Drug Store Nevis, TDC Home and Building Depot, and shoptdcgroup.com on Friday 25th and Saturday 26th August. Go where the savings are. Shop your way with TDC, your VAT Day specialist. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Are you ready for the summer? Need a plan like no other. Stay connected when you're on the go.
Sign up for internet and get 1 month free, plus a chance to pay $0 for the rest of the year. Plus, get a chance to win free data, gas vouchers, $500 cash weekly, grocery vouchers, Fed tickets, and more.
Switch over to Flow.
There you had it. That was Dr. Wayne Wesley, Registrar and CEO of CXC, giving an overview in terms of the approach and recommendations that we give children and the young people equal opportunity in the education. And he believes, based on discussions he had with the Prime Minister, that will ease some of the social strains that we've been seeing around the region and also here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You know, it's an interesting perspective that he gave because we've been seeing a number of young people. I mean, it's self-explanatory. You know, we've been seeing a number of young people getting themselves involved in activities that are not, that they ought not to be in. You know, and when you look over the last month, weeks, years, the average age of some of the young people who've been involved in criminal activities, you know, it's probably 20 to 24, somewhere around that age, the average age. That would be the range. And how do we necessarily deal with this issue of the young people and providing more opportunities for them, you know, is the critical thing for me in terms of our approach to dealing with young people and issues that we have in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that would be the discussion point that I would like to hear your feedback on. You know, because it's a major problem that we've been seeing in St. Kitts and Nevis and generally around the region. You know, young people being involved in criminal activities or thereabouts. So, yes, for me, that would be our, you know, discussion point. Or if you have any other issues that you want to talk about, the phone lines are open at this point. And I don't know if a lot of people are actually. Oh, we have a call. Caller, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Abel.
Morning.
Abel, I want to talk about the Africa-Russia summit. Now, I'm keeping the fire burning, Abel, because for me, what I see happening here with America and France supporting ECOWAS in going up against Niger, we are being played. We are being played, Abel, by our common enemy. And we need to recognize what is happening. Now, here we have two countries within one continent going up against each other to fight because of the overthrow of a president that was selected by France to support France's interests. Abel, uranium that is coming from Niger is keeping Paris lit. 85% of the population of Nigerians are out of electricity in this, the 21st century. Now, a couple months ago, Emmanuel Macron apologized for the role that France has played on the continent. Abel, it's not just France alone. The whole of Europe have played their role in the slaughter of our people on the continent. My thing is, Abel, what gives France the right to have interests outside of France in Africa? Now, whether you want to say, oh, they were colonized. Well, okay, we know our people were colonized, our people were enslaved. America is echoing the same sentiment. Now, here we have America who trained those 4 military leaders in the Francophone countries. But they're taking sides because they have Russia in their corner. Abel, I am saying, for 400 years we have fulfilled Scripture. Now, the angle that I'm looking at this from, Abel, is that the 4 countries are uniting because, make no mistake, Abel, while we were being divided by them, it has worked for them. So why ECOWAS and the president of Nigeria cannot recognize, well, unity is our strength, unity is our power. Now, Russia and China might be in the backyard of those same 4 countries. But Russia and China have to go as well. And let us build for ourselves, and then we invite them, because the world cannot do without our continent. Let us make our continent resources be our interest. You know, it is painfully saddening to me that they are saying their interests. Why can't our African leaders take ownership of what is theirs? And this is one of the reasons why you see we in the 6th region, we're quick to hop on a plane and we want to say, but I'm going to Europe, I'm going to America. Because when in our infancy, when we grew up, we saw them paint our continent as a poverty-stricken continent in order for them to do just what they are doing today. Now look at how they have shifted the war from Russia and Ukraine and now have put in us to go against ourselves. This is weakening. It is so painful. It's sad for me.
A question on that. I mean, 2 questions. One, the first one would be to address the first part of your point. How do we, as territories, countries that would have been, as you said, stripped of our resources, whatever it is, these major developing players, France, the United States, Russia, China, whomever it is, right?
Mhm.
They would be more developed. We lack the resources and capabilities. How would we go about doing that, developing ourselves, extracting our resources when we don't necessarily have the financial power or the backings to extract these things?
Abel, let me say this quickly. Now, we tell ourselves that we are small islands and we don't have, as you just said, resources. The resources on the continent belongs to us. That's my point, Abel. Now, let us go back to when they gave us COVID. They gave us COVID because 2019 was the year of return. What does that mean? It means for Africans in the diaspora to return back to their birthright. So they gave us COVID to shut down the planet to prevented us from going back, those who want to go back. Now, in COVID, what did I say? I said our ancestors are speaking to us. Whether you choose to say ancestors or God, our ancestors are speaking to us because energy does not die, Abel. Our words vibrate to the universe and our words are being picked up. Our word is power. But because we tell ourselves we are a small island and we don't have any resources, let me repeat this again. The resources on the continent belongs to you, your unborn, and your unborn unborn. It is ours to inherit. The system placed upon the continent is for them to continue to exploit us. Now, what gives them, well, let me not ask what gives them that right. They have created generational wealth for the unborn. Should it be happening in the 21st century? Again, I said, Abel, our division have worked for them. Now, what is the hand of, again, I try not to use the word God. But what if, for the Christian community, I'm going to say, what if God's hand is in all of this? Because look at how we were treated in COVID. Our Africans who were in China were kicked out. When the war started, our African brothers and sisters in Ukraine were forbidden to board the train. We are being disrespected globally, Abel, but here we are, we're still worshiping whiteness. So what is whiteness, Abel? What is whiteness? The Bible tells you that to be white is a curse. When Miriam spoke out against the Ethiopian woman that Moses married, the Most High said her parents should have spat in her face when she was born. You know, when she was white as snow. She was shut up for 7 days, white as snow. Now, look at what is pushing in America, white supremacy. So you see, they're using words to keep us, and we are swallowing everything that's at us, hook, line, and sinker. You don't want me to remind us of what Joseph Borrell has said and what the Poland politicians talk about in order to contain climate change. African women need to have more abortions. I'm saying, Abel, that the game is skewed against us in any way you try to slice it. The food we're eating, the media, and the media can be such a powerful tool for us to use, but we are being distracted with TikTok and all the distractions that are there. And we are not focused. We are a race of people who have gone outside of ourselves, looking for God when God is within us. Mr. Abel, what is happening between ECOWAS and Niger, I don't support that move. No, it is happening because our leaders are corrupt and they're just wanting to, serve their puppet masters.
Okay, 30 seconds.
I mean, it is painfully sad, Abel. We cannot allow this to continue in the 21st century. This is our time, and we need to take ownership of it. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, thanks, caller. Well, we heard from that caller, but we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come right back with more voices on WIN FM.
98.9 is Win FM.
When the star them there, we a top man, we take charge. Have no we drink and we a shell down bars. Blast like a star with some a gallopar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We a hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man them. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
TDC, your That Day specialist, is giving you more reasons to save. Get up to 30% store-wide at all TDC retail stores, TDC Automotive Division, City Drugstore Nevis, TDC Home and Building Depot, and shoptdcgroup.com on Friday 25th and Saturday 26th August. Go where the savings are. Shop your way with TDC, your That Day specialist. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Are you ready for the summer? Need a plan like no other. Stay connected when you're on the go.
Sign up for internet and get 1 month free, plus a chance to pay $0 for the rest of the year. Plus, get a chance to win free data, gas vouchers, $500 cash weekly, grocery vouchers, Fed tickets, and more.
Switch over to Flow.
And welcome back to Voices. Welcome back to Voices. We go straight to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Okay, we lost that caller. But yes, okay, we another caller on the line. Caller, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Am I on?
Yes,
Hello,
you
good
are.
morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, the topic speak about young people and criminal activity.
Well, we're talking about what more can we do, to take them out of that, and the CXC's CEO and registrar basically highlighted, we need to bring everybody together, not segregate
As
them.
far as I'm concerned, the young people in St. Kitts and Nevis, I don't think is a lack of opportunity for them. Education is basically free in St. Kitts and Nevis. If your parents can't afford, the government provides for you. So anybody you see take certain decision is because of choice. They choose to do it. Nobody put in no gun or nothing to nobody's head and force them to do nothing. They choose to do it. Right? Most people need to understand the power of hard work. They need to learn to work. And this current administration, as I see it here, seems to want to turn this island, this federation, into a welfare state. That is something we need to check at and come serious with. We cannot expect government to keep on giving. People got to work for what they want. When people learn to appreciate hard work, then they'll appreciate what they earn. You can't sit down because every time somebody government go come and give you something. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Put things in place so people could own what they want.
How do we go about doing that? Because I think former administration tried it. This administration is trying it. How do we go about doing that?
If you look at it, in the 80s there was some serious growth in St. Kitts and Nevis, right? There was certain programs and policies were put in place. So what happened? People used to work towards something. Like for instance, everybody want a house, but they wait on government to build a house for them. When people used to work, put up their money and build a house. Some people don't mind paying rent until they reach to the state that they could build their own house. Like everything you want to go to school, you wait the government to give you a scholarship to go to college. You work for what you want. Nothing wrong in that. Work towards what you want. The government put things in place to help you, assist you.
Nothing wrong in giving the man a hand out. But when you give man a hand out, you will give him a hand up also. Because if a man hungry, you feed him, but then you teach him to own something so he can feed himself. Okay? And the Africa situation, the caller before, I want the caller to please understand that he needs to stop fooling himself. In Africa, there ain't no freedom of movement in Africa. From one nation to the next, from one island to the next, you got to get visa. Who is we down here to go in Africa? We got to get a visa to go Africa. In America, as long as you're American, you can go anywhere in the United States freely. In Europe, you can travel freely. In Africa, you can't travel freely in Africa. And it ain't got nothing to do with no white man and nothing, because most African countries, not all, are led by Africans. Right? Some people talk about the puppet, a white man. Who wants to be the puppet, a white man? Is by choice. The situation in Nigeria is who's suffering? Is the ordinary people. The military people decide to overthrow an elected government. And who going to suffer? The ordinary people. When the military people now get in place, they will just go look for themselves. And they going to continue on and on and on. Coup, we got it, coup. You overthrow them, somebody going to come and overthrow you. And you going to continue that way. It's for years, hundreds of years, it keep happening in Africa. Years upon years. It keep happening in Africa. So let us not fool ourselves and feel like we belong in Africa, because African people don't belong in certain parts in Africa. They cannot move from one part to Africa to the other freely. They don't belong neither. So we don't here, we ain't belong. Now let us fool ourselves.
Okay, Carla, I just want to ask you one quick question.
Yeah.
And this is a question that has been tossed around quite some time. And it's circled back to the first point that you were making. Do you think that we need to be a bit more, I'm trying to find the correct word, but we should be more self-serving, and that's not the correct phrase. In terms of, instead of depending on the government, we come together and do and fix issues in St. Kitts and Nevis, for example. You might see a little pothole outside your yard and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to take our situation in our own hands. We can't depend on the government. We cannot. But election have consequences, you know. So election have consequences. The Labour administration over the years has always been administration of handout, putting people to depend on them. Over the years, that's what it's all about. The Labour administration have a way to make you feel good for a moment and forget about your sorrows, and they continue that way. Anytime you make a little noise because you are not satisfied, they give you something to make you feel good. And for that moment you feel good, you forget your sorrows. And then the situation ain't changed. We need to build capacity, let people build themselves. Not wait for government. These young, you drive to St. Kitts right now, you pass a bunch of young people almost in every community sitting on the sidewalk with the weed in their mouth. And they're going to work with somebody if they ain't got $1 at the end of Friday. They're going to push up their mouth and work with somebody. This program that the government have that they call step, whatever they call it, it is crippling the country. It's killing productivity. The young people does not want to go out there and find meaningful employment. They go on this step. Pep, I don't know why name, because name changed so fast. And they want to show up at work 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. By 7:30 they finish. And they get a day's pay. They feel like that's the way it should be. They don't want to work hard. They don't feel like working hard is something good. And then they're going to get a $340 and they're going to work with somebody who's going to make $700 or $800. Yet, they might done work early, but none of them going to say, let me pick up a second job so that I can get more money. Nobody, I will repeat myself, nobody should be on the step, the PEP, whatever they call it, for no period past 6 months, unless they are approaching the age of 50 up. Anybody 50 and up, I could understand them. But young people just finished with school, and so they should be shifted around, go move up, get something else to do. Not the other thing with a weed eater in your hand and you joint in your mouth. You see, I might talk it plain and think, but it's the reality in St. Kitts and Nevis. That's what we're facing. And people commit crime and they blame who? They commit the crime because they want to do it. Nobody forced them to do it. There are so much opportunities in St. Kitts and Nevis. You see people coming to our shows. In a 6 months' time, you see some of them drive out in a car. In a 6 months' time, they don't want to rent, they want to build a house. People coming into our shows and making it. Why we can't make it here? If people could find the goal here, why can't we find it ourselves? Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, thanks, caller. That caller was sharing his perspective on the topic. Just a couple of things. One, I don't agree with the position that anybody shared COVID with anyone with the continent of Africa. Let me make that clear. As somebody who's been following it and do a number of training programs, it spread, right? And I don't think it was deliberately sent to any particular territory or country. Let me go back to the phone lines and then I'll come back. Caller, good morning. We lost that caller. Caller, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. And you?
I'm doing good. I hope your day remains blessed. The rest of your day remain blessed.
Well, I hope it can cool down.
Okay. No. You see that mentality that some persons like to concentrate on when it comes to the African leaders and so on. It is no different to the mentality of the people here. Now, one caller talked about persons who coming in 6 months' time, they drive in a car, and another time they're ready to build their house. Why is that so? Do you know how many of our people here, the limiting mindset or mentality that they have, placed on them by a lot of their own, is holding them back? You know, I don't like to speak like this, and I don't take pleasure in it. But even the Bible says, he that covereth his sins will not prosper. Do you know how much tear down our people give to their own people? Even if it takes a man who has a skill or a paper to work, mind they're working, you know, they're not stealing. And you know how much drag down, you know how much propaganda they put on their own people. Why do you think we're going around in circles? For the same reason that one caller previously spoke about, the disunity among us. So let us not concentrate on the African leaders and their mentality, because it's happening here too. And one thing that what is happening here and what is happening in Africa has in common, it is the same source of indoctrination and mental mess upness in us. That is what the first caller was talking about. Right? We can be talking about this and that and that and that. It came from somewhere. It's the same way that you see our people are indoctrinated along religious lines. The same book that they believe in. If you take that book and show them something that the book says, that they are taught that is different or in conflict with the Bible, they don't believe the Bible, but they say they believe in it. Indoctrination is a terrible thing. Terrible thing. When it is not an indoctrination onto the positive and for the betterment of oneself or a people. When it is used for destruction and to keep down a people, it's a terrible thing. The same thing is happening to us. Listen, many of us might want to change the situation. A lot of our people, they would like it to happen. But as the first caller said, we are not in the position of might. You could have all the brains you want. But if your mindset is not there, and if you don't have the finances or the capital or the infrastructure, if you don't have other mites behind it, what can you do? And again, once you have somebody who has all of the advantages over you, you could even look at it between the relationship of a man and a woman. Well, it can be either way. But we are more familiar with men doing it to women. I mean, a lot is changing now. Right? That man could put that woman in that house in such a position where she is disempowered. Well, you're not supposed to talk to your family. Don't have no friends. I don't want you to go out to work. Now, when she's in that state, what do you think is going to happen to her mentally over a period of time? She can go out in the street and she can smile, and she will give people the impression that everything is all right, and she is in charge as a helpmeet. But in the house, it's not so. What can she do? She has no power. She has no might. She may not even have a skill or anything like that, because maybe she might not even be allowed to go on a computer or a cell phone. This is how restrictive some relationships are. Put that in the context of what Europe has done to us as a people. Put it in the context. A lot of people say, well, oh, they can this and they can that. Oh, they can what? They can't do nothing as is. They cannot do anything as is, even if they wanted to. And that's the fact that a lot of our people are not understanding or recognizing, right? Or maybe even want to accept. When we reach to the point where we accept what is, then we will be in a position to do something as a common. Every time we look at this and we feel like, oh, is this and oh, the thing? No, we will never, ever get any solution, because we will be always divided in our mind. And Kenya, Ghana, I don't know if it has happened to Nigeria, if Nigeria is one, but I know at least Kenya and Ghana that have extended visa-free travel to any black person in the diaspora. They tell you you can come back. Come back. They have made provisions for you. You have land if you want to. And there are people who are making good use of that opportunity. There are a lot of blacks in America who are moving out, elsewhere who are moving out, because it's coming so far more hostile for black people everywhere they go, even in the place where they're born in America. So they have made provisions for persons who want to go. And remember, all of these physical barriers were put there by Europe. They were put there by Europe. So we can sit here and we can talk about what is happening in Africa, and the leaders and all of them sort of things. We can talk about how corrupt they be and how much money, who made them, put them in that position. When the mindset is geared a certain way, it's difficult to come out of it. So let us look at what is happening here. Don't we have monies disappearing too? Hasn't monies disappeared? And nobody know what has really happened to it. And no consequence for it. It's the same thing you go everywhere. Different places, it might be tweaked a little bit to fit their own local specificity, what they call it? Specificalities, wherever you call it. Sorry for the tongue tie. It might be tweaked a little bit. But the underlying cause of it is the same. If you have to go to the base, there's a common denominator. You all need to listen to what persons are saying. It's not enough to come and denounce and to tear down because it's not working. Because when we have to look at Africa and the land and all of that sort of thing, let us start with us. Because a lot of us mentality to our own, it stinks.
Okay,
it is terrible. The way we treat one another as black people, let's start there. Where did that come from? Can we do better? Yes, why not? There are underlying factors that is holding it fast and don't want to let go.
30 seconds. We have to break for the midday news. I'm just giving you time to wrap. 30 seconds.
Yes, well, I am not going to go any further other than to apologize for taking so long. But, sometimes it has to come out. I had no intention of calling. But this going around and around and around and in circles is not helping us. It's not helping us. Each one out here is here to teach one. And we need to learn from others. If somebody comes down from space and say what that first caller was saying, a lot of our people will accept it. But I don't know if it's because it's familiar. As I say, familiarity breeds contempt. I don't know if that's why they're always rejecting what he's saying. We need to listen. And what we don't, if we are not too certain, we can always go and ask the question and do a research. It will do us much better. Otherwise, we will never come to that point where we need to come together to unite. It is true. Our unity is what is needed. That is our military. That's our defense. And of course, with our creator in it. If someone wants to say ancestors, it's up to them. But we can't leave that creator out because that's our foundation. Anyway, have a blessed day, okay? And I apologize again.
No, it's okay, but I just need to break for the news. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, I understand. That's all right.
You can call back after the midday, but yes.
Well, I don't know because I have my my things to do and whatsoever. So I just was listening. That's why I did that. It's not all the time I'm in tune. Right? It's not all the time that I am in tune, but sometimes, when I do listen and I see the need to come. And finally, yes, this present government, I don't think they are creating a welfare system. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like it is saying that this present administration is creating a welfare system. No. What is happening is that they are perpetuating it. They are continuing it because it didn't start with them. It started before Joe administration got in. They are continuing it. And there are a lot of things that the last caller said I agree with. He's on point. I agree because he had some really good points, right? But anyway, goodbye, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thanks. You too, caller.
All right.
Well, yes, there you had it, folks. That was the first half of Voices. I'm Jermine Abel, just sitting in today for Socrates. Yes, Socrates, who couldn't make it today. So we had an interesting discussion. We were talking about how we can better deal with youth. The CXC's registrar and CEO basically called for us to do more in terms of providing that enabling, educating environment where young people can benefit and not separate them, so we can minimize a bit of the issues and social challenges that we're seeing across the region and here in St. Kitts and Nevis as well. And then the callers touched a bit on Africa and what's happening with the ECOWAS states and the meetings that they've been having and the coup initiative. But we'll continue with the discussions after the headline news. The folks upstairs, they had some interesting pieces to the news, so I won't keep you any further from the midday news, so we'll go right to that.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A Excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WINNFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown. Our top stories: Education Minister provides update on repair work being done on public schools. China's president pledges support to Cuba, Jamaica to get increased airlift from U.S. and Canada in November. Internationally, Donald Trump has surrendered in Georgia on charges of plotting to overturn the state's 2020 election results in an arrest that saw the first ever mugshot of a former U.S. president. Now the details. The start of the 2023-2024 school year is fast approaching, and the government has been engaged in some repairs and rehabilitation work for several public schools across St. Kitts and Nevis. As reported previously, the remedial work of the Irish Town Primary School is expected to be completed by the start of the school year on September 4. What about the other public schools? Minister of Education, the Honourable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, in a brief interview following the preliminary CXC overview on August 24th, shared where the government is in repairing and rehabilitating other learning institutions.
Well, I am happy to report, and not because I'm the Minister of Education, but you know my energy, that I believe this is the first time in many years we were able to do so much work at a number of schools, and it's unfortunate that we weren't able to meet my original target, and not because of anything on our side as a government. I must indicate that CDMA did approve 5 projects that they would normally do in the region. St. Kitts was approved, but unfortunately because of the lack of resources in their office, they informed me that they moved from 12 procurement officers to just 1. So that in itself is taking some time. But presently we are working on the Irish Town Primary School. You know what happened there. And we're at the Tucker Clark Primary School renovating bathrooms. Personally, as the parliamentary representative for East Bastia, I have a door drive that I started in my constituency where I endeavor to change all of the wooden doors at the Tucker Clark Primary School into aluminum doors. This is something that I am doing dealing with personally, because you would have captured me in interviews before last year and the year before, even before I became a Minister of Education. I took on the responsibility of tiling the entire auditorium at the Tucker Clark Primary School. So now that's another initiative. We are completing the work at the Washington Archibald High School. There were some electrical issues there. The staff room did not have AC, and it was very uncomfortable for our teachers, and we gave the commitment that we're going to fix that for this school year. So we are putting in AC in the staff room at the Washington Archibald High School, ensuring that the fires and the electrical shocks that the students would have experienced over those many months, that would come to an end this school year. When I became the Minister of Education and I visited all of my school, I was deeply depressed when I visited the Keon High School. To me, much attention have not been placed on that school, and as a result, you had classrooms over there without windows, without doors, without electrical fittings, and I was able to get some work started over there. So it's our intention to work right through the school year, because I want to make sure that our teachers are comfortable and our students. I inherited bathrooms that have not worked in 10 years, and I have started working on them, and some of them will be commissioned for the new academic school year.
As it relates to the Bassier High School, the actual start of construction is still some time away, according to the Education Minister. In an update, Dr. Hanley said the work for the rest of the demolition is before the Procurement Board.
As it relates to the Bassier High School, as you would remember that I gave a commitment while I was being elected on the political platform, where I spoke about building back a brand new Bassier High School at the original site. That is still the priority of our Labour administration government. And matter of fact, just yesterday I had some discussions. The Bassier High School, it went out, the demolition that is. We started the roof and then we came to the building. That went out to tender. They have already narrowed down the tenders, and up yesterday in a discussion that is before the Procurement Board, who should be meeting as early as next week. So we anticipate as early in the month we should have we should be in a position to notify the country as to who would have been successful at the bid in terms of doing the demolition of the Bassier High School. And of course, after that, there's a process in terms of looking at designs and then inviting persons to participate in maybe the construction or whatever areas they might have an interest in with the Bassier High School. So that is a project that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party government will definitely deliver.
The process for the construction of the Joshua Obadiah Primary School is still in the initial stages, according to the Education Minister.
Well, that in itself is also a procedure. Public Works, they are finishing the designs that they're going to share with the general public, and then after the designs, it goes out for tendering. After tendering, you have the selection of who will be able to build that school. That is something that we are going to also be delivering. At least I know I will deliver that school within my first term.
Construction is no longer expected to begin this year, considering the designs have not been shared, and according to Dr. Hanley, the tendering and procurement processes would each take 6 weeks. Outside of having necessary institutions ready for the school, is sufficient human capital prepared for the school year.
It is unfortunate that we won't be able to employ all of the teachers or all of the potential teachers who applied, who participated in the pre-service training. Of course, teacher replacement is based on persons retiring or death or for whatever reason. But based on the meeting I had on yesterday, we have already allocated all of the the teachers that we need to make sure that all of our schools are outfitted with the necessary teachers and resources that's needed. However, one would appreciate that anything can happen prior to the start of school. Then we'll have to make additional changes. But placing teachers in schools, it's always a work in progress, because if you have one starting on the 5th of September, and for some reason the person has to migrate, whether it's illness, have to find somebody to replace. But what I'm pleased to share is that all of those persons who attended the pre-service training, they are going to remain in our educational bank. So once we need teaching assistants, and some of them will become teaching assistants, and then eventually they would get the opportunity to be trained.
The 2023-2024 academic school year begins on September 4th. In regional news, China's president pledges support to Cuba, Jamaica to get increased airlift from U.S. and Canada in November. These stories and more from Carib Update.
Authorities in the Dominican Republic fanned out across the Caribbean country on Thursday to evaluate the damage Tropical Storm Franklin inflicted on crops and homes after causing heavy flooding that killed at least 2 people and left 1 missing. More than 670 homes were affected by the storm, according to preliminary government figures, and 24 communities were cut off by heavy rains. Crews evacuated more than 3,300 people to higher ground ahead of the storm, and another 352 residents sought safety in government shelters. The storms left hundreds of thousands of people without power and more than 1.6 million without water after knocking 120 aqueducts out of service. By Thursday, schools, businesses, and government agencies were reopened as the tropical storm spurned northwest of the country. As of late Thursday morning, Franklin was about 90 miles east-northeast of Grand Turk Island. It had maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour and was moving north at 7 miles per hour across open waters. Franklin is expected to strengthen into a hurricane over the next few days, but poses no threat to land. The American nurse kidnapped with her daughter in Haiti last month has spoken out for the first time since her release. Alex Dorsonville says she holds no grudges against her captors and that her clinic doors remain open to them. Dorsonville addressed both her captors and the people of Haiti in a video posted on the website of El Roy Haiti, the non-profit Christian ministry where she was working at the time of her July kidnapping. Alex Dorsonville of New Hampshire was working for El Roy Haiti when she and her young daughter was seized in late July. She is the wife of the group's founder, Sandro Dorsonville. China's President Xi Jinping has pledged to support Cuba's defense of its national sovereignty, opposing foreign interference and a U.S. economic blockade, and will expand strategic coordination with Havana. Xi made the remarks in a meeting with Cuba President Miguel Diaz-Canel on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Johannesburg on Wednesday, according to a statement from the Chinese Foreign Ministry on Thursday. During talks, Diaz-Canel labeled Cuban-Chinese relations at an all-time high. The meeting between the two leaders comes months after a media report surfaced that China had reached a secret deal with Cuba to establish an electronic eavesdropping facility on the island, but the U.S. and Cuban governments cast strong doubt on the report. China quickly denounced the U.S. government and media for releasing what it called inconsistent information, calling the allegations false. Jamaica's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, has indicated that Jamaica has met with Canada on its expanded electronic travel authorization program, which eased visa requirements for several countries. Canada recently announced the addition of 13 countries, including several in the Caribbean, to the ETA program. Travelers from the countries who had either held a Canadian visa in the last 10 years or who currently hold a valid United States non-immigrant can now apply for an ETA instead of a visa when traveling to Canada by air. Johnson Smith addressed the issue of Jamaica not being part of the program. She said among the issues discussed was visa refusals. Another issue was the use of unauthorized agents when applying for Canadian visas. Johnson Smith also mentioned the number of Jamaicans who overstay on the visa legitimately granted and those who travel on the visa granted and then seek asylum for some other reason as contributory factors to Jamaica not being on the list. Guyana has gained a larger share of Europe's oil market this year, driven by rising output and strong demand for light, sweet crude grades amid a reshuffling of global oil flows. Western sanctions on Russian oil have opened a window of opportunity for emerging producers, including Guyana, whose crude grades are a good fit for many European refiners. Guyana's crude exports to Europe in the first quarter of this year rose to some 215,000 barrels per day, or 63%, up from 50% last year. Guyana reported revenue from royalties and profit of $439 million in the second quarter, which increased the nation's oil fund balance to $1.72 billion at the end of June.
We now bring you these international reports.
Donald Trump has been officially booked in Georgia on charges of attempting to overturn his 2020 election defeat in the state. The mugshot released by Fulton County Sheriff's Office, and we can expect to see a lot more before the next election. The former president and the frontrunner for the Republican Party nomination in 2024 arrived in Atlanta to protesters and supporters before surrendering himself to the authorities. Our North America correspondent Sean Dilley reports.
A snapshot in history. The first mugshot ever taken of anyone accused of committing crimes as US president. It's not the first time Donald Trump has been booked, but in his 3 other criminal cases, he's been excused photographing. He is, after all, one of the most recognisable people on the planet. Fulton County Sheriff said that Donald Trump would be treated like any other prisoner. Certainly the security operation is huge. Police vehicles, helicopters, drones for blocks around the jail. Now, part of that is because he is a former president. Part of that is down to the protesters and counter-protesters, these Donald Trump supporters, among those who believe, in the face of all of the evidence to the contrary, that Joe Biden lost the last election. For these Trump supporters, it's all part of a sinister plot to rob him of the White House.
The rights of Americans are being stripped away. Today is one of the most obvious versions of it that are going on while we're putting a former president in jail.
He firmly believed, like we do too, the election was not fair, was not transparent, it's lack of integrity.
If Donald Trump was laying on the beach right now, on his beach playing golf, this wouldn't be happening behind us.
How do you know that?
I know it for a fact.
How?
Because I'm an intelligent person.
Others celebrated. How will history remember Donald Trump?
As a criminal, and hopefully a convicted criminal. If for some reason he gets to be president because the dumb people in this country who are not using their brain cells elect him, I am going to fight against it for the next 4 years.
I'm hoping that this gets recorded in history. I'm hoping that this is one of the last times that we have to hear from this individual and the people that he represents, but I'm not sure that it will be.
Donald Trump entered the jailhouse just after 7:30 p.m. local time. He was technically in custody for less than half an hour, released on a $200,000 bond.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
This will be a day America remembers. The first of a kind photograph destined for museum walls and the history books. Sean Dilley, BBC News in Fulton County, Georgia.
Let's go to Washington now, to Atlanta rather, and Sean Dilley is there where he's been following all the developments. Hi, Sean. You spoke to quite a lot of people outside the court, a lot of supporters, Trump supporters. What do you think it will do in terms of his base support? Will it make any difference, this latest arrest?
Well, very few of the people who turned up to the jail today were Republicans saying, do you know what, I'm slightly undecided about this. So those who turn up were there either to support him, and there were people who weren't Republican voters, as we heard in our report there. But what was interesting, I was wandering around with my colleagues Ron, at the time particularly when we were filming one of the interviews, we kind of had somebody come up on our position. They were quite angry that we were chatting and sort of asking questions and challenging the fact that many of the people there believe, despite all of the evidence to the contrary, that Joe Biden lost the last election. So it's really quite an extraordinary position for all of us to be in.
Yeah, and what was Donald Trump's reaction to having his photo taken now, one that, as you said in your report, will go down in history?
He said well, I mean, certainly if you look at it, he's very angry, right? But he said that it was a travesty that he was there in the first place. It was deeply uncomfortable. He said that it was uncomfortable because he said he didn't do anything wrong in that circumstance. But, you know, clearly, on the one hand, he says, well, when we get indicted, I do really well. On the other hand, he says it's a bad thing. It probably is a little bit of a conflict for him because he knows that next year he has all of these court dates at the time when he's running for the Republican Party nomination to be president. And so, to that extent, never before with his other 3 criminal cases have we seen quite so close behind the scenes. Now, to some people, that might damage the former president's reputation, and to others, it seems to enhance it.
OK, Sean, thank you very much. Well, let's get more on this and speak with Karen Morrison, Professor of Law at Georgia State University, who joins us live now from Atlanta. Welcome to you, Karen. Good to have you with us. Donald Trump's 4th arrest in 5 months over criminal charges. Bring us up to date on where he's at legally now.
So legally where he's at is he is about to get arraigned, which means basically he's going to plead not guilty to the charges, and effectively the judge will set a schedule for the Georgia case. But he's now facing a lot, 91 criminal charges, one way or another. So it's a difficult position he's in.
Yeah, and what do you make of his comments after his arrest, insisting that he believed he was entitled to challenge the result of a vote, which is what this arrest is all about?
Right. Well, he's been saying the same thing for 2 years now at this point. So he's absolutely correct that it's fine. You know, he has every right, just like any American, to challenge the results of the election. But he did that in court. Here, he's being charged with basically interfering with the Secretary of State of Georgia, putting pressure on him to try to find him 11,000 votes so that he could overturn the result. He's also charged with racketeering, which basically just means getting a whole bunch of people together and committing a series of crimes. So typically this is used for, or this used to be used for mob cases, but it's a pretty serious charge to bring against anybody, let alone a former president.
And there are a number of other co-defendants in this case, aren't they? How will that play out? Will they get their cases heard earlier? And if so, what impact could that have on him and his case?
Well, normally they're all going to be tried at the same time. But what will really happen will be that some will drop out one way or another. They will either plead guilty or they may end up cooperating with the DA, the district attorney. So I think as time goes on, there's going to be a lot of pressure on his co-defendants financially, as well as sort of legally. A lot of them are white-collar people. They're lawyers. They're political party operatives. They are not used to facing jail time. And so they may be put in a position where they feel like it might be better to actually cooperate than try to tough it out.
So, as I was saying, 4th arrest in 5 months, so many cases, 91 criminal charges, as you said, to date against him. Just how much effort, money, time is it going to take for him and his team to fight all of these cases?
I think the short answer is an enormous amount. Fortunately for Donald Trump, he has a political action committee, which is able to give him a lot of money. Apparently, he has already spent close to $60 million on legal fees up till now. Legal fees in the U.S. are really expensive, so this is part of it. But you're right; he has dozens of lawyers, all kinds of charges things in different courts. It's going to be a very big burden.
Here's what's been making the business headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. President Xi Jinping has said China will launch initiatives to support Africa's industrialization and agricultural modernization. He was talking to African leaders as the BRICS summit in South Africa drew to a close. Also at the Johannesburg event, BRICS agreed to admit 6 new members. Argentina, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia have been invited to join in the bloc's first expansion in 13 years.
The membership will take effect from the 1st of January 2024.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has ordered the immediate resolution of disagreements with Emirates Airline and over visa issuance by the United Arab Emirates, the president's spokesman has said. The UAE stopped issuing visas to Nigerians after Dubai's Emirates suspended flights due to an inability to repatriate funds from Africa's biggest economy. A Kenyan court has given Meta and 184 content moderators suing the Facebook owner 21 days to resolve their dispute out of court. The content moderators are suing Meta and 2 subcontractors who did not immediately respond to requests for comment after saying they lost their jobs with one of the firms for organizing a union. And finally, the organizer of next month's Africa Climate Summit has said they're expecting deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars to be struck at the event, including increasingly popular nature-based investments. More than 20 African heads of state and government will be among 20,000 delegates expected at the summit in Kenya's capital, Nairobi.
From why the AI boom shows no sign of slowing down, to why Peloton needs to pedal faster. The week in numbers. $25 billion is the new share buyback planned by Nvidia after it reported another blockbuster quarter. The US tech firm is riding a surge in demand for its chips, which are key to the boom in AI products. Record earnings of over $13 billion blew past estimates, with the bullish numbers sending shares in Nvidia and the wider sector soaring. 3.9% was the slide in shares for Disney on Thursday. That took the stock close to a 9-year low. The home of Mickey Mouse is under pressure as investors weigh up turnaround plans set out by boss Bob Iger. $4.67 billion was the latest quarterly revenue at Baidu. The Chinese search engine giant says it will use better than expected sales and profits to double down on AI tech, including its Ernie chatbot. 27.8% was the early plunge in shares for Peloton on Wednesday, after it said a return to positive cash flow was still some way off. The exercise bike maker later recovered some ground, but it's struggling with demand as people head back to the gym following the end of lockdowns. And precisely 0% is how much Germany's economy grew over the second quarter, compared to the previous 3 months. Though a strong labour market is now expected to boost consumption, industrial output looks set to stay weak amidst tepid global demand.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines? Education Minister provides update on repair work being done on public schools. China's president pledges support to Cuba, Jamaica to get increased airlift from US and Canada in November. Internationally, Donald Trump has surrendered in Georgia on charges of plotting to overturn the state's 2020 election results in an arrest that saw the first ever mugshot of a former US president. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with C&W Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, C&W Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
Outer moisture bands extending from T.S. Franklin, coupled with light winds and daytime heating, could lead to a moderate chance of shower activity over and around the islands occasionally during the next 24 hours. Today, partly sunny skies in general with brief cloudy spells and a 50% or moderate chance of brief afternoon showers. Tonight, fair to partly cloudy skies with a 40% or moderate chance of brief showers, mainly before midnight. Sunset today will be at 6:30 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:56 a.m. That's your weather forecast for today, which came to you with the kind compliments of Flo.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with C&W Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, C&W Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It is with regret we announce the passing of Amalia Bolivia Stone of Turtle Beach Estates, Southeast Peninsula, who passed away on July 26, 2023, in Tirana, Albania, at the age of 78. She leaves to mourn her husband, Terry Stone, children, Patty Stone and Gigi Duncan, sister-in-law, Christina Rhodes, cousins, Miriam Rodriguez, Isabel Rodriguez, Magali Salinas, many other family and friends in the wider Caribbean and around the world. The funeral service of the late Amalia Stone will take place on Tuesday, August 29th at the Church of the Immaculate Conception in Bastyr, St. Kitts at 3 p.m. It is Amalia's wish that those attending the funeral wear bright, joyful colors. According to her wishes, there should be no flowers, but donations may be made to a charity she has designated if so desired.
Found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
Welcome back to Voices here on Win FM. I'm Jermine Abel, just sitting in today for Socrates, who's unavailable today. But we've been discussing, youth violence and getting them to be more proactive. And we heard from CEO on Registry and Registrar of CXC, Dr. Wayne Wesley, basically calling for equality for all students across the board in St. Kitts and Nevis and throughout the region. As we continue here, we're just going to acknowledge the people who make the program possible, and then we'll continue with the discussions here on Voices.
Are you ready to let it flow to light up your life? Get ready for the most electrifying event of the year. It's the Let It Flow to Light Up Your Life sales event at Horsfield's Building and Nevis Centers. For limited time only, Horsfield's Building and Nevis Centers are offering an unbelievable discount of 25% off on all electrical and plumbing items. Yes, you heard that right, 25% off. It's time to make those electrical and plumbing upgrade and renovation dreams a reality. Whether you're a do-it-yourself enthusiast or a professional contractor, we've got everything you need to transform your space. From dazzling chandeliers to high-quality wiring, from stylish faucets to top-notch plumbing fixtures, we've got it all. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to save big on top brands and the latest innovations in electrical and plumbing. Spruce up your living space, revamp your kitchen, and turn your bathroom from ordinary to luxury and more. Hurry, hurry, hurry! This event won't last forever. So head over to Horsfield's Building and Nevis Centers today and let it flow and light up your life with our phenomenal 25% off sales event on all electrical and plumbing items. Try Horsfield's first, your one-stop destination for all your electrical and plumbing needs. Terms and conditions apply.
go straight to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon.
Yes, Abel, good afternoon. Now, the last caller before the news break, that positive lady, it appears that my comment caused someone to rebut, and it is okay. But let me say this, I kind of missed what, if the person rebut what I was saying. But if he's listening, or she, let me say this. The scripture says, right, that Christ came to his own, and his own received him not. Now, my angle in all this, Abel, that we as a people, we were a collective in our own space. We were interrupted and we were disrupted. Now, the book that we gravitate to, Abel, the King James Bible, there's a lot of quotes and texts in it. I'm going to just outline a few. Judas betrayed Christ, and we have Joseph's brother sold him into slavery. Now let us look at what is happening amongst us, Abel, us, black people globally. When we were enslaved, we were in chains. The chains are now removed, and the chains are around our minds. Here's where the chains have moved to, from physical chain to now mental chain that is on our minds. And this is why I am saying I am speaking to our people who were disrupted and enslaved and colonized. Now, when you look at every race of people around this planet, no other race was being treated by Europeans like us.
Okay.
And it is still happening today. We are disrespected globally. And that is why these European public figures, politicians in high places, can use their racism, and we just hear it and let it be.
Okay, Carla.
Yes, you have a question?
Not that I have a question, but I was actually trying to move away from this topic, to be honest, right?
But Abel,
I'll let you finish your point. But I was actually trying to divert from this.
But okay, my point is, right, in as much as you want me to move away from it, everything is geared against us. Everything from putting us into a system of economics today. Because we are consumers. And now, let us take, for instance, the lady mentioned that a lot of African Americans are leaving America now, going back to Africa. Now, let us look at what happened to Kanye West just last year, early this year. Now, just picture all African Americans pulling their assets out of those banks. And if all Africans in Europe and America would get up and leave those spaces, what would become of their economy? And to say that because we are a small island down here, well, Europe and America is in Africa, and they're not there to protect Africans. They're there for the same resources that belongs to you, me, and all of us. That's my point, Abel. So when we say we're small and we don't have minerals, we have.
I think, but Carla, I think the general context of the debate has actually shifted, and I get your point, right? I think the context is that, and I was making this point earlier. When I say resources, I mean we have resources all across the world. Each country, territory got their own resources. Let's be frank about that. What I was saying and the context I was getting at is certain countries do not necessarily have the resources in the sense that, or skilled expertise to actually extract those resources to get it to the point that they would be able to benefit significantly. Let's be frank. Not, let's say I may not necessarily have
to that point
engineers and all of that.
That point that you just make, right? Let me throw this at you. Our people are in America and Europe, and they have made something for themselves, and they send back remittance. Now, are those resources that they're sending back, or they're just working for the dollar to send back? Now, let me make this other point to you, Abel. The story that we know of the prodigal son who asked his father to give him his portion, and he went into a far country and he wallowed with it. And then he came to his senses and he came back home. You know the story. But we didn't get up on our own to leave. We were taken. So the story is ours. We're supposed to go back. And like I said earlier, 2019 was the year of return, and they closed down the planet by shutting down the borders. These people knows exactly what they're doing. We are the ones who swallowed everything wholesale and don't ask questions.
Yeah, but
let me say this also. I'm going to finish now.
No, I just want to make this point to interject. I mean, the last time when you called in earlier, you said, they gave us COVID, right? I don't like that phrase. I mean, I'm allowing you to express your point, but I don't like the phrase when you say they shut us down and they gave us COVID, because again, COVID was something that spread across the globe. No one person or country came and said, "Hey, Mr. Abel, take COVID." I don't like you, so take it. And I think we're going to agree to disagree on that specific point.
Fine. But remember, right? COVID was global. We have had other viruses that was on the continent of Africa that stays there. COVID was a rapid, let's say, in my opinion, a biological weapon, right?
Again,
and we see how it spread.
Again, it's your
And
phrasing.
that is why I'm saying because, Abel, because those who are in the know that 2019 was the year of return. That is why they shut down the planet.
Again,
because
caller.
look at how you and I, if we want to go to the continent, right? Apart from last November with the inaugural flight that came to Antigua, we had to go to Europe and America to go to the continent.
Yeah, and
right?
Again, caller, we can.
That is one of the gateway that it is skewed against us to just get up on a plane and cross the Atlantic to go to the continent.
But whose fault is that, caller? Let's be frank and
see,
look at that
now, I am saying also. Now look at one of the area in which they managed to enslave us and colonize us is because of their weapons of death, their military power. And I am saying today, Abel, I am saying today, Africa needs to create its own military power. Because make no mistake, Russia and China have an agenda.
Like the U.S. as well.
And this is why I'm saying
like
our leaders are gullible and they are greedy. Because the people, me and Matley saying, when will leaders start to lead? When will our leaders start to lead us? But what are they, Abel? They have become greedy dogs, hireling shepherds that the scriptures speak about. This is the angle in which I'm trying to enlighten our people in Abel.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, right, caller? I understand that you're taking a specific angle, right? The concern for me, though, is some of the phrasing that you're using, right? It's bordering on there's no other way to put it. Some of it is bordering on conspiracy, right? And as a journalist, I don't subscribe to that, right? Some of and that's what I'm saying. The way you're phrasing some of it.
I agree to disagree with what you're saying.
No, yes,
I
understand
all you
you
have to do your research
caller.
because
right.
COVID, Abel, COVID was planned.
Again,
it was prophesied. Read Revelation 13,
again,
and you will see it there.
Again, that's what I'm saying, right? We're going to agree to disagree.
Let me give someone else a chance to weigh in.
Well, you can call back in, right? Again,
all right, I'll try.
Yeah. Again, I don't necessarily agree with everything the callers are going to say, but some of what, and I'm just going to say this, some of what he was saying, I don't agree with, right? And as someone who's in the media, I don't necessarily subscribe to conspiracy, right? If you have the facts to substantiate that, fine. But I don't agree with that. We go back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Abel. I heard in your news clip, apart from what I wanted to bring to the fore today, the news about the conclusion of the BRICS
summit.
The Russia, China. You, as a journalist, how much have you followed that news, and because there seems to be a shift in the global geopolitics, and everyone was anticipating that BRICS summit, which just concluded in South Africa at that. Prior to the lead up, there was announcement by the foreign ministry of the BRICS nation as to what nation would show interest in joining. There were some 40 nations had showed interest in joining, but for now, 6 nations had added to the BRICS, as President Cyril Ramaphosa is the president of South Africa, and he did mention it. But apart from the BRICS, the enunciation of the 5 members, there was sideline meetings, and one all echoed the sentiments of, for instance, we know about are you familiar with the G7, Mr. Abel?
Yes.
And the G20?
Yeah.
It has a professor, his name is Sachs, Professor Sachs. He had always made the case for the African Union to be a part of the G20, not South Africa,
but
not Ghana,
but
not
that's the
Kenya.
thing, right, Carla? From my understanding, how they're established, they're individual territories and not necessarily the entire union. Because, for example, St. Kitts supports Taiwan, Antigua, for example, or Dominica, they support China. So the policies themselves may not necessarily align with all of the countries. So that is where you're now seeing places like South Africa being part of the G20 rather than the European or the African Union actually being part of the G20.
No, they did not make the case for South Africa per se. What the professors in the field of geopolitics and the likes are saying, it is time now, and they have made cases when it comes to the United Nations, that it is time now for the South countries. We know the prominent 5 in the prominent United Nations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
about the Security
so
Council?
they made the cases over the years for that prominent 5 to be broadened.
Are you talking about the
other
Security
members
Council,
should be a part
Carla?
of? Hello?
I was asking if you're talking about the Security Council.
The Security Council. We know the 5 that the United States, Britain, France, Russia, and China, right?
Yeah.
There should be concerted efforts for others to join in that prominent 5 so that a more balanced playing field. But let's get back to the BRICS. There are 6 others joining come 2024, January 2024. Argentina, Argentina, Ethiopia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates, right? Those are the 6 that are joining. So one was anticipating others like Mexico, Indonesia. Those were names that was calling. But albeit, it is spearheaded 2 years. Every 2 years, the BRICS summit will be held. So there are more concerted efforts for other members to join and to bring about a balance, because as we speak right now, the BRICS nation, as they were, was 40% of the world GDP, if my memory serves me right. And in terms of the population, they had a vast population because India and China is very big in terms of their population. So we are seeing a geopolitical shift within the global economy, and rightly so, because it was too lopsided for far too long. Not only that, the BRICS has taken over the G7, and so we look forward to that. I laud the Ethiopian admission rather into it, because Ethiopia is, Addis Ababa is the capital of the AU. It is the headquarters of, and so that we support, and we want to hear a louder voice coming emanating from that area. Mind you, we need a balance. It's not just, we're looking at South America, we're looking at Asia, the Asian nations. We're dealing with a balance. I am an African. I speak for Africa, yes. But we need a balance in the geopolitics. And it's no more like, because you don't do certain things that we don't agree, we're going to ban you, we're going to, put a blockade, like we thought China is talking about, the blockade that has been imposed on Cuba. Cuba, out of all, who have contributed so much in terms of their doctors, sending their doctors far and wide, all over the place. It is time now that you lift the ban on Cuba. Cuba is just there. And for quite a while, CARICOM did not support Cuba. We are supporting Cuba now, and we want to see a balance in things, in the geopolitics.
I think, you see, and then it goes back to this point as well. The respective territories, the bodies themselves might not necessarily come out and comment on a specific issue. I know now CARICOM, for example, in their communique have been discussing, requesting or urging the United States to lift its embargo against Cuba. But the individual territories themselves, or countries, wherever it is, whether it be in Africa, EU, or in the Caribbean, have been making and lobbying for these issues to come to the fore. So, for example, Cuba's embargo, I know sometime or the other, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis would have made some pitch to, or urge the U.S. government to lift the embargo. So it more comes down to the individual countries themselves to get that. But you're correct in a sense that the broader bodies should be pushing more of these agendas.
Yes, CARICOM, because we know Cuba and we know how Haiti has become a failed state because of the policy, the vicious policies that they have put on Haiti for all these years. And we heard about the news a while ago where the kidnapping of this lady and her daughter. And it's like, when will it stop? Each youth, I want to big up each youth if he's listening, because we are saying our leaders are supposed to be honest with us and let us know when they are being bullied from the outside, so that we, the citizens, will know about it and lend our voices.
But Carter, I just want to quickly...
Being bullied,
sorry to interject,
if they are being bullied and they keep it to themselves,
Carter,
how would we know? We will only speculate.
Carter,
we don't need to move and make our voices be heard from speculation.
Okay,
we
so
need
Carter,
to be having facts.
I want to ask you a quick question. You mentioned the term bullied, right? And what would you define as an international organization or country bullying a specific country? What would you define that? Because I have a follow-up question on that.
Yes. Okay. For instance, a country might be enjoying aid, or a country might be getting money from the IMF and the World Bank. Those two institutions, I must mention them. Or a country might be enjoying something from the World Health Organization. And all of a sudden, the phone ring, okay, you, Abel, Prime Minister Joe, you're not qualified for this anymore. In subtle way, Mr. Abel, you are a journalist. I'm not going to put you in the spot. But in subtle way, all of a sudden, you're paying your dues, You're paying your dues because we pay our dues. And don't we pay dues to be in those clubs? If you want to call it a club, we pay our dues. And all of a sudden, you'll get a phone. Mr. Joe, Mr. Abel, you're no longer eligible for. Simply because you have lent your voice to Cuba or Venezuela, for instance. All of a sudden, in quick succession, they heard the news. They know via the telegraph that St. Kitts and Nevis has just loaned their voices to Cuba, the cause of Cuba and the cause of Venezuela. And you get this sudden call. That's the subtle way of the bullying that I talk about. It's not they're going to do it in diplomatic terms, Mr. Abel. They're not going to come and say, St. Kitts, we're not going to give you aid like that, in a bombast way.
But wouldn't that be the general idea or goal of agreeing to some of the policies and aid that you're looking to receive?
The aid and all of that. You are paying your dues. You are members too. You are entitled to. And for all of a sudden, your entitlement has been snuffed from on you like the rug being pulled off of you because you're lending solidarity to a member of a person in your region. Persons, the Cubans, for instance, their doctors in our hospitals are helping out the less fortunate, and they're doing a tremendous job. How could we not want to support Cuba? Mind you, Cuba might have certain violations, but that is on that merit. The merit of the Cuban doctors that are in our hospitals is on a different merit, which we must show empathy to and solidarity with. Cuba, Venezuela, they was giving us oil through the Petrocarib. How could we not support that cause? Or else our inflation is going to fly high. Today we go to the pump now and it's $14 a gas, imperial gallon. $14. So we will see these things, and we will hope that the oil, I heard it in the news, that's coming from Guyana, will benefit us too. Okay? So you see these gives and takes now. All of a sudden, they and Venezuela, they are cool again because of the oil, the Nord Stream pipeline. And let me get to the other part here with Wagner. Those mercenary groups in Africa and Wagner. And we're not going to exchange one colonial power for the next. So we need to get it right in terms of Wagner and most of the mercenary, most of the Wagner soldiers. They are ex-convicts and they're in Africa that's running wild and getting access to the gold and the diamonds and the uranium and so forth. We don't need that because it will be a vicious cycle all over again. We need to know that our resources are dispersed to our people. We need to see we have to have terms and plans. In 5 years' time, we need to see ourselves lifting ourselves out of poverty. As they say, China now is like zero poverty. We need to have a roadmap, a plan, which we lay out, and where we see all these things that used to benefit France, benefit our people, and not the Wagner Group, who is sending the gold, it's allegedly sending the gold to the UAE and Dubai and those countries. No, we need to see our gold reserves are there within our federal reserves, our reserves, to really help, because this is where the economies of the world is going. It is going to be backed on gold and other commodities like uranium and lithium and the likes. You know, you're in the know, Mr. Abel. So that's my 2 cents for now. Thanks for listening.
Caller. Yeah, that caller was sharing his perspective from Africa. Yes, I was addressing this issue, but first let me, acknowledge our partners who make the program possible, and then we'll come back to the call.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hey, this is your boy, Super Handy Andy, with your Super Handy Andy deals at Hustle's Building Center for the month of August. Vanity Combo was $1,276. It's now only $10,2065. 9-inch kitchen sink with soap dispenser was $1488.95. Get it now for $1265.60. 4 pounds of Ramek green nuggets was $69.75. Only $59.28. 6-inch steel toe work boot was $246.16. Is now $209.23. Super handy Andy deals at Hustle's Building Center for the month of August, making home improvement easy.
Welcome back to Inside the News. We go to the phone lines and we hear from this caller. Oh, we lost that caller. Caller, good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, greetings, my brother.
Greetings.
Are you hearing me well?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Okay. Blessed Kim Collins Day to you and to all others listening. It's a memorable Iowa. Okay. Where we going to start? A few things. Blessed love, brother Africa. Blessed love. Struggle continues, but we are certainly confident in the victory. Yeah. Okay. Give thanks for your sharing so far, my brother. The early sharing and everything else that comes thereafter. The youth within the midst of crime, yeah, and violence in our midst. Okay. We want to first point on polite violence, which seems to be kept sweeping under the carpet, but its ugly presence are here with us, and we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it because it is what begets bloody, bloodletting, cold-blooded violence. Yeah? Whether we want to acknowledge it or not. That's the naked truth, We have to deal with it. And conflict resolves have to be part of that. Yes, we are in for opening up the educational opportunities here and there. Not just for the youth, all ages. And, yeah, we see the need for that. And, but education ought to be more wholesome, Yeah, it's not wholesome. It ought to be wholesome. Inside of that, we see the urgent need for education about self and race knowledge. Yeah, because we didn't jump out of the sky, We didn't jump out of the sky. We in St. Kitts and Nevis and the region, the Caribbean, our borders didn't drop out of the sky. Yeah. We are the human cargo. Yeah? It is we. Bob Marley Singh said, black survivors. It is we. Yeah. Other things need to be part of the educational system. It is no secret. It is spoken by others, and it's no secret. We need to implement these things. Yeah? Like yesterday is. We have some in spite of the sluggards here and there, we had some very hard-working youths in our midst, very hard-working, and we need to acknowledge them. They are not all sluggards and lazy bunch. Yeah? We need to acknowledge those who are there and embrace them in inspiring and motivating those who are sluggard within the scheme of things, Yeah, because they all mingle, yeah? Apart from the hanging out of these same youths with a spliff in the hand, yeah? There's also liquid in their hand, which ones and ones, it seems to be invisible. All color liquids of the alcohol family. And you all is not watching that, yeah? But you all need to watch it when you are watching the spliff in the youth's hand, yeah? Okay, let's go to our rightful home. We want to ask a question, even though we know the answer. We hope that others will try to know the answer also. Who carved up our blessed continent, causing the present situation, yeah? Up to the time, with the borderlines. It is the same ones who stole us away. Same ones. And just like how our presence here have it traumatized, yeah? Things with it. Too much to mention. The same way on the continent. Yeah, the consequences of the carving up that them and those did is still prevailing, still in the midst of the continent today.
So
know that.
Carl,
I want to echo it, you know.
Carl, I want to ask you a
You're
question.
saying something, my brother.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. I know you mentioned it just now, and maybe one or two callers also echoed it. But what I want to know, right, is, and I think I asked this question some time back. We keep talking about Africa, and you know that we are from Africa and all of this. But realistically, right, how many of us are actually paying attention to Africa or really have any sort of interest in Africa, or we are just speaking from a perspective because of what we've been seeing in the news, and what is traumatizing the people and some of the infighting in Africa. Do you think a lot of us really have Africa's interest at heart?
You know. This is no pretense, my brother. We are an African people who don't have it. Because who knows West Indians, etc. Yeah? Embracing all kind of false identities. Who have it. That's why they're moving home from the US plantation lands and other places. We have it. We don't pretending. We don't feel like. We don't believe. We know. And if the power is within our hands, in unity and in other forms, we'll show that. We won't only, hey, we have it. I know it is there. Yeah? Who don't know? Don't know. We know that the interest is up. We know that without a shadow of a doubt. Let me feel by saying, echoing, that our leaders in the Federation and the rest of the region, you all should let the masses know when you are being bullied by them and those in diplomatic ways. Let us know. Let the people know you are reps and servants of us. So let us know. Don't take on the fight. Don't compromise. Let us know. Our strength stays in our unification, within our unison. And they can't kill all of us. Yes, the mercenaries are here and there and everywhere, but they can't kill all of us. We are like sands of the seashores. Blessed love.
All right. Thanks, caller. Yeah, we'll acknowledge our partners again, and then we'll come right back with a discussion here on Voices.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hey, this is your boy, Super Handy Andy, with your Super Handy Andy deals at Hustle's Building Center for the month of August. 15-gallon black storage container was $127.02, is now $107.97. LED spotlight was $77.10. Get it now for $66.05. Black Farmer's Oil Lantern was $67.84, is now only $57.66. Fire extinguisher was $115.78, is now just $98.42. Super handy Andy deals at Hustle's Building Center for the month of August, making home improvement easy.
back here on Voices, and we go straight to the phone lines. We lost that caller. Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Abel.
Hi, good afternoon, Miss Henry.
Lord, I thought I wouldn't get in. All my Africans, we don't ship them out, you know. We don't ship them out. Oh, Jesus. Happy Kim Collins Day. Kim Collins, we do appreciate what you have done. You became the world champion even before Jamaica did so. So we're proud of you. Proud of you. While we're here fighting for Africa, we're ignoring Kim. You see how life is? Now, obviously, I do appreciate their interest in African affairs. But it would be foolhardy for all of us to pack up and leave the land that our brethren, our ancestors shed their blood for. Every time you see a cane field, you see, we work hard for this country, you know. Wherever the blacks are in the diaspora, they work hard, they shed their blood for you. Why should all of them get up and go? And why don't we concentrate more on building our own legacy? Africa have all of these things. What do they contribute to us? Have all the gold, we will want some. And some people are not aware of the criteria for grants and loans. They're not aware of it. As early as in the early 1990s, there is what they call the rate. Any country earning less than $1 a day. You know that rule, right? You know the dollar a day rule? Yeah, if your GDP is a certain length or size, call it size, call it dollars value, you don't qualify. And in our case, because our GDP is growing and the population is not moving, our per capita keep climbing. And our health services, thanks to all of the governments, we have fairly good health services, social services. That is what has pushed us into the high group. What we need are more people in the country. It will have to bring down the per capita. And as to our people not supporting Cuba, that's a lie. Every one of them march up in the UN and express their dissatisfaction and express their thing with Cuba. If they remember, I want my people to remember, when America was trying to get our people to agree that the gentleman, the opposition leader, was the president of Cuba, CARICOM objected. They were using the OAS. You recall, Mr. Abel?
You're talking about Venezuela.
Eh?
You're referencing Venezuela, not Cuba.
Venezuela, because they say how we don't. That's not true. America would have gone into Venezuela if the Caribbean people didn't stand up for Venezuela. We need to know these facts. I remember Dr. Harris, Mayor Motley, and others, I think it's only Jamaica and somebody, when the OAS said that this man is the legitimate president. They said no. And they refused to consent for the U.S. to invade Venezuela. That's why they didn't go in India. They even now lobbying for us to get oil since America have sent the people in to Venezuela to get oil. So don't underestimate our people. And this thing with the BRICS is a good idea, but if you take a look at the composition of the BRICS now, the smaller, poorer countries getting pushed out and pushed around, that was expressed by Brazil. When you started trying China, India, Russia, poor Brazil, and Brazil had the idea. So when do we benefit? It's a matter of people still fighting Cold War. America over there, and the rest of them over there, and they're hauling us in. We wish Africa well, but believe me, the leaders are not stupid. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And if you got 54 countries, and only 2 out of the 54 said we could come. I mean, really? Really? from there, but we belong to here. Get it in your head. We belong to here. I will look. You could go and visit Africa. You're free to go and buy land. But when you we are African citizens, acknowledge it. Our people, you heard the story. We came. They sold us, and the people bought us, and brought us here and worked the daylight out of us. So we better pay attention to here, you know. And they're intimidating. But who do want to intimidate? Let me tell you, Russia, everybody using the smaller countries to fight the battle. To fight the battle. It is up to our leaders. You see, they don't equip themselves. And even the IMF, there are certain conditions you must face to borrow from the IMF. It is, darling, if we learn to manage our countries better. Now take us to the CBI. Way back since Dr. Douglas, they have been told to put aside some of the money into what is called a sovereign growth fund. Something which Trinidad and so did out of their oil. I hope Guyana is doing it. Put aside some of the money. So should anything happen, you don't got to ball, everything ain't got to collapse. Have they begun to do it yet? I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, Dr. Drew, you're now in position. Do like Joseph in the Bible. They were in the Bible. Joseph told Pharaoh, look, famine plenty here and famine coming. You know the Bible story, right?
Yeah.
The government could start to put 20% in an account. And the idea of going out to borrow, because Africa said, come borrow, you want borrow? If you don't need to borrow, don't borrow. I am still waiting to hear what is the ratio of the national debt to the GDP? What is the ratio? And what impact would the borrowing have on the ratio? Because all of under Douglas, under Harris, they all struggled to get it down. The rate is 60%. There was something above it. We admit that the COVID, but we had plenty money still. So start now. Start now, Dr. Drew. Set aside some of the money in an account called the sovereign good, because everybody threatening to shut down. So you now know, if famine come in, prepare yourself. Set aside at least 20%. So when the famine came in Egypt, Joseph was able to give them corn to cook. So please, all of you advisors who misadvising, ill-advising the Prime Minister, please, Mr. Prime Minister, go ask God to give you wisdom. Do like Solomon. When they give you some idea, it might sound good, but run it across somebody else. The Bible said that there is safety in the multitude of advisors. Somebody tell you so. Even this 250. The 250 is a joke. School opening the 4th. If you go down to the bookstore, them people don't buy up the books, buy up the shoes, buy up the whatever. You understand what I'm saying? That should have been done long time ago. Because as Edinburgh said, he has to go and discuss if they must reimburse people. So, please, may the Lord help our Prime Minister and all of our lovely African people. I am a very black African, you understand? I understand what's going on in Africa, you know, because the truth is, it boils down to the leaders. I mean, they fight one another without any concern for the population. Any concern. Africa must have more refugees than anywhere else. Their own people, country by country, then they have the Muslims that these pro-Africans don't discuss at all.
Okay.
The Muslims have Africa in a state.
Henry, 30 seconds. We're about
you understand?
Yeah, we're about to wrap, Miss Henry.
I tell them already, start to talk about the colonization of Africa by the Muslims who are making it difficult for countries in Africa to grow. I want to hear discussion. So you skip over the Muslim, go on and the white people. Well, white people and Muslim in the same boat. In my mind,
Miss Henry,
they all enslaved us.
Okay.
Sold us. So please, we want a full discussion of who really, and who is impacting Africa. who is impacting Africa today. So may God bless Africa and bless all of the black people wherever they are and give us wisdom. And I for one, I am not going to leave my grandmother, my mother. No, I ain't going nowhere. I'll go and visit and come back. Because when you move out, they're moving, You said they're moving in already? I don't think,
Miss Henry,
they're moving in already, and you can't blame them if you're moving out. All right, then.
All right,
Have a
Miss
good
Henry.
weekend.
Yes. Again, she was just sharing her perspective on the topic of, us going to Africa and all of that. We just acknowledge SL Hosford and Company Limited, who made the program possible, and then we'll return and do a wrap for today.
Of 25% off. Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is again giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback for free groceries with every hire purchase. Will be given back this coupon season. Happening now. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback coupons to all our hire purchase customers this coupon season. Starting now until December 2023. You get absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase at our Horseman's Furniture and Appliances stores on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. So riddle this. Where can you get quality furniture and appliances at great prices with a flexible FlexPlay plan and with absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase? Riddle that. Cashback at Horseman's Furniture and Appliances on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is giving you over $250,000 in cashback and a chance to win free groceries for a year. Riddle that cashback. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
And we're back on the Voices. So I'll just take this final caller. Caller, good afternoon. Okay. Well, we missed that caller. It was an entertaining program, but I must say this though. I don't subscribe to what I define as conspiracy theory. I know we all have our opinions and so forth, but at the same time we have to be cognizant of what we say, how we say what we say, and sometimes we have to come with the facts. I'll just stick in this last caller. Caller, 30 seconds to make your point. We're out of time.
Yeah, me see that you're out of time. Me get a couple rings before, but you never take me on. Mr. Abel, good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the listeners, and good afternoon to big up Tim Collins Day. We just calling to make this little quick point. Jermine said that the 2019 made the year of return. So them send the COVID. That doesn't make too much sense. If 2019 made the year of return, we think that they would have done 2018, that 2019 you can't travel. Now this thing's released 2019 late. That even 2020. I'm even half a stage when shutdown even started to take place. So that doesn't make one kind of a sense to me. We say a long time. Are we touch base?
Yeah, Carla, no problem. But yeah, I was making the point that I don't subscribe to some of the things as I said on the call. Was basically echoing it. Yeah, so we have to be careful. We have to be cognizant of what we say and how we say what we say. As somebody, when I'm sitting in this chair, as somebody who's been in the media and know that we deal with facts, it's not easy to allow people to say certain things that actually, want of a better word, it's going to influence people in a particular direction. And that's why I really don't support conspiracy theories, and I must also address some aspect of what was said. I know we all have our approach to dealing with the continent of Africa, but I also don't support the notion or idea that, you know, this whole thing of Caucasians this and Caucasian that. So I do not support that, and I know people at WINNFM would not support that as well. So I just needed to address those two things before the program ended. I know, again, it was good sitting in for you, hearing your issues and your viewpoints, but again, I was Jermine sitting in for Socrates today. I do think Socrates will be back on Monday with you guys. It was good interacting with the general public. Enjoy the weekend. Do go out and give your support to the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots. They really need their support tomorrow and on Sunday, because we know they lost their 2 opening games. So yes, do go out and enjoy some cricket this weekend. Until then, do stay safe and enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend. So yes, enjoy.